Welcome inside our New York studios. Brent Stover, Kevin Carter, Beanie Wells. The upset of the day Saturday took place in Tallahassee as Mike Norvell's Seminoles knocked off the 8th-ranked Crimson Tide. Let's show you how they did it. Again, Florida State won just 2 games all of last year. They're down 7-0 deep in the first. Key play here, Tommy Castellanos to Squirrel White. Fantastic catch laying out. Led to the 9-yard touchdown run by Tommy Castellanos. And we are tied at 7, Kevin, on to the second quarter.
Yeah, Mekhi Danzig gets the ball on a reverse, takes it 32 yards to the house. Seminoles up now 14-7. On to the third. FSU up 17-7. Keziah Holmes takes the pitch and batters his way into the end zone. Seminoles up 24-7.
Ty Simpson hits Rico Scott in the flat. He breaks the tackle and goes on to score. Crimson Tide down 24-17. Gavin Chausuck off, takes left and right to with the handoff and bowls his way into the end zone. FSU wins this game 34-17.
They ran for 230 yards. Castellanos backed up the talk leading into this one. 9 of 14, 152. He ran for 78. Alabama's first loss in a season opener since 2001, snapping a 23-game winning streak in openers. And Florida State snapping a 4-game losing streak against AP-ranked opponents. Again, this team went 2-10 a year ago. They pull off a 2-touchdown victory, Kevin.
I think the most surprising thing is, we talked about this earlier, is what happened up front. Seeing Alabama is usually good enough no matter, even if they're replacing skill position players or replacing pieces here or there, they are usually always good enough to line up along the line of scrimmage and just be as good, or if not better than you are, just lining up and playing football. That was not the case today. I saw a Seminoles team that had 25 new players, just like they did last year, and they somehow found continuity to be better along the line of scrimmage. Not even talking skill guys. I'm talking with the guys with the hands in the dirt, the big uglies, better than Alabama on this day.
Look, I saw an Alabama team that lacked identity on both sides of the football. They didn't know whether they wanted to be a finesse team, a team that chucks the ball downfield, whether they wanted to be a run-first football team and be dominant in the trenches. They couldn't do either one of those things. Then on the flip side of that, they had no pass rush. And I know Kalen DeBoer is coaching in the shadows of Nick Saban, but they have to get back to having an identity on both sides, because right now they're not playing what we're used to seeing in terms of Alabama dominant football in the trenches. That's somewhere that they're going to have to get better at if they're going to be a team looked at as being one of the top ones in the country down the stretch.
We are 1 game in. I don't know how much we should overreact. The bottom line is, as you alluded to, he follows a legend. They go 9-4 last year, including a bowl loss. And so you're looking at it saying, okay, if you're an Alabama fan, that doesn't happen here. We can't allow this. And then you start 0-1. How bad is this? Because you do go into Tallahassee facing a tough environment against a program that, only won 2 games last year, but we know how quickly the tide can turn in this portal era.
Yeah, I mean, but it shouldn't turn that much. You got, 25 new guys all trying to buy into a new system, get acclimated. And if you're Alabama and you got a second-year coach, you got your offensive coordinator who everybody thought was going to pitch you back into position like it was in Washington and Ryan Grubb, and you go out and you lay an egg like you do today, that's not a good sign moving forward, because this is a completely different franchise in terms of FSU having to get guys together and find them and then get into a rhythm. And you're a ready-made football team, or supposedly a ready-made football team. It's just not making a lot of sense, in my opinion.
To your point, you would think that Florida State had more ground to make up in order to equal a team like Alabama. But even last year, there was some writing on the wall, so to speak. Whenever they misused Jalen Milroe and didn't use him as a threat in the run game and utilize his athleticism, we saw this team have trouble. We saw them have trouble in their secondary. We saw them have trouble just along the line of scrimmage, being able to stop the run at times. They didn't look like the same Alabama team. But it's hard to go back to your question. It's hard not to overreact because you're talking about, like I said, the perception of Florida State was a team that had a lot of ground to make up after a 2-10 season and missing in the portal. So to think that you had the kind of chemistry and or continuity within your coaching staff to take another crop of 15 to 20 players and bring them into your program and overcome just the stigma, the attitude, the dismal nature of what happened last year in Tallahassee, And to think that, oh, we're actually closer to solution than the Alabama Crimson Tide is, that should not happen and shouldn't have happened today if that wasn't the case. So hats off to the Seminoles and how they played. Hats off to Mike Norvell, how he got his team ready, how he got a bunch of new players acclimated to his system in a very short time.
Imagine the roller coaster of being part of the Florida State program and a fan. 2 years ago, you felt like you had every right to be in the college football playoff. I mean, they had a masterful season, went unbeaten. They didn't get in because Jordan Travis got hurt. I think we can all agree with that.
Yes.
Because they still stayed perfect. They won the ACC championship. Then you turn around, and after that huge, dramatic snub, you turn around and win 2 games. And now you come back in 2025, and you just beat 8th-ranked Alabama. And you mentioned missing in the portal. Quarterback is the position. I think it's fair to say they missed with DJ Uiagalelei. But now, at least after 1 game and after what he's done so far in his career, it appears they did not miss on Tommy Castellanos.
No, 100%. When you look at the way that he affected the game, not just passing the ball, he threw some dimes, but his ability to be able to make good decisions, pull the ball down and run it in critical situations, and extend the play, that's something that they did not have last year. And when you got a playmaker as dynamic as him, he can get you out of trouble. And certainly he was able to do that today.
What about Ty Simpson for Alabama, a much heralded guy that has waited his turn? As we take a look at what Simpson was able to do, 23 of 43, 254, 2 scores, but again, you lose by 2 touchdowns.
I think Ty Simpson was more than adequate. I just don't think he had a lot of help necessarily along the line of scrimmage. And plus, he didn't have a consistent run game that provided and made downs, the later downs easier as he worked through his progression. I think there was a lot on his shoulders having to execute. And I don't think, I think from a coaching standpoint, they didn't necessarily put a lot on him for him to have a chance to bring them back into this ball game. So, look, when you're not getting it done up front, it's hard on a quarterback. It's hard on the skill position guys. It's hard on the guys in the back end when you're getting beat next to, with the guys with their hands in the dirt. The big uglies make all the difference in the world when it comes to what happens in the back end.
Alabama's home against Louisiana Monroe next week, but then the following week, home against Wisconsin, and then on the road against 5th-ranked Georgia. That ain't going to be, Beanie, they're coming fast and furious. Kalen DeBoer's resume is phenomenal.
Right.
This was always going to be the case, though.
Yeah, you get in the fishbowl, and this is what it's like, right?
100%. You're with a new crop of players in terms of caliber of players when you're in the SEC and what you're going to be going through on a week-in and week-out basis. They're going through a gauntlet, so he better bring his hard-headed lunch pail and be ready to go with his guys.
You know who's going to be unbearable all week? Danny Cannell.
Oh. Yes.
I can't wait to see his Twitter feed.
My goodness. All right, good stuff. We're only through 1 week. It's going to be an awesome season in 2025.